Thanksgiving weekend, 1981. Within hours, Natalie Wood would be found dead in the waters off Catalina without her usual life jacket, despite her paralyzing fear of dark water. The yacht's captain, Dennis Davern, would later change his story not once but 3 times, each version raising new suspicions. Coupled with unexplained bruises, a delayed call to the Coast Guard, and a coroner's 2012 ruling drowning and other undetermined factors, the official account unraveled. How did a single night aboard Splendor turn into a decades-long mystery with the truth still in dispute? Splendor, a 60-foot motor sailor owned by Robert Wagner, left Catalina Marina at 8:30 p.m. on November 28, 1981. On board were Natalie Wood, Wagner, Christopher Walken, and Captain Dennis Davern. The group had spent the afternoon on the island drinking heavily at Doug's Harbor Reef restaurant before returning to the yacht. Weather reports recorded clear skies, gentle seas, and a nearly full moon. The vessel anchored in a quiet cove off the island, its deck lit only by a single halogen lantern and a small navigation lamp at the bow. The railings stood 3 feet high, with minimal balusters between. By 10:45 p.m., according to the first mate, Natalie Wood had gone to her cabin on the starboard side. She wore a nightgown, parka, and socks. She left her life jacket untouched, despite her well-known fear of deep water. The rest of the group remained awake, continuing to drink as the night wore on. Deck lighting was poor, and the aft area was cast in deep shadow. The timeline grows hazy after midnight. Official records place the last confirmed sighting of Natalie Wood around that time. The next documented action came at 12:30 a.m. when Wagner placed a call to the U.S. Coast Guard. He reported that Wood had gone missing from the yacht, prompting the start of a search and rescue operation. Coast Guard logs mark this as the first alert from Splendor, nearly 2 hours after Wood was last seen. The yacht's location, the time of her disappearance, and the delay before contacting authorities would become central questions in the investigation. The Coast Guard received its first distress call from Splendor at 12:30 a.m., nearly 2 hours after Natalie Wood was last seen. Dispatch logs confirmed the alert, but the time lost before official notification became a point of deep scrutiny. Search and rescue boats launched at 12:35 a.m., but by the time Wood's body was recovered at 3:45 a.m., she had been in the water for several hours. The gap between her disappearance and the call for help raised immediate questions for investigators. Robert Wagner, as the yacht's owner and Wood's husband, took on the responsibility of contacting authorities. In interviews, he later described a period of confusion and disbelief, saying he waited 10 to 12 minutes before making the call. Official records, however, show a much longer window unaccounted for. Law enforcement would later note that this delay limited the Coast Guard's chances for a timely rescue. Wood's friends and family were quick to point out another troubling detail. She was known for her lifelong phobia of dark water, a fear so strong that she almost never set foot on a boat without a life jacket. On the night she vanished, her jacket was left untouched in her cabin. This contradiction, paired with the delay in raising the alarm, only deepened suspicion around the circumstances of her death. The combination of procedural gaps and personal anomalies, lost rescue time, a missing life jacket, and a well-documented phobia would become central threads in the ongoing investigation, pushing authorities to look beyond the surface of an apparent accident. Dennis Davern, captain of the Splendor, gave his first official statement to Los Angeles County Sheriff's investigators on November 29, 1981. In this account, he described Natalie Wood's disappearance as a tragic accidental drowning. Davern told police that Wood had left the main cabin late that night, stepping out onto the aft deck alone. He said she must have slipped on the wet deck and fallen overboard. He emphasized that the deck was poorly lit and that there had been no argument or disturbance before she vanished. Davern reported hearing a splash, prompting an immediate search of the water around the yacht, but no sign of Wood was found. He insisted that the crew responded as quickly as possible, throwing a life buoy into the darkness. His statement made no mention of conflict between those on board, nor did he suggest any foul play. At the time, authorities accepted his version, and the incident was classified as an accidental drowning, shaped in part by the captain's calm and straightforward account. In 2008, Dennis Davern broke a long silence with a new account published in a national magazine. This time, he described a night on Splendor that was anything but calm. According to Davern, a heated argument erupted between Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken in the main cabin. The dispute, fueled by alcohol and Wagner's jealousy over Wood's friendship with Walken, became so intense that Davern claimed a wine bottle was thrown across the room. He recalled Natalie Wood, caught in the middle, trying to defuse the confrontation as tempers flared. Davern suggested that the fight spilled out toward the deck, raising the possibility that Wood was pushed or jostled near the rail. For the first time, he implied that her fall into the water might not have been accidental. This version stood in stark contrast to his original statement, which had mentioned no conflict at all. The shift in Davern's narrative drew national attention, casting doubt on the accident theory and introducing the specter of violence aboard the yacht that night. In 2011, Dennis Davern gave sworn testimony that added a new and disturbing detail to his account. Under questioning, Davern described a wine bottle smashed near the yacht's rail as tempers flared between Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken. He said the bottle was not just thrown, but shattered with force, serving as both a symbol and a possible trigger for what followed. Davern alleged that after the bottle broke, the argument spilled out onto the aft deck, where Wagner and Natalie Wood continued to fight. According to the deposition transcript, Davern suggested that the broken bottle may have played a direct role, either as a weapon or as the cause of a sudden violent movement near the rail. He stopped short of saying he witnessed Wood being pushed, but his implication was clear. The physical evidence on deck, the smashed glass, and the escalating conflict all pointed away from a simple accident. This version, broadcast in a widely viewed 48-hour segment, brought the missing wine bottle into the center of the investigation. Forensic experts weighed in on the plausibility of such an object causing bruises or contributing to a fall, but the bottle itself was never recovered. His 2011 statement left investigators and the public with a stark question. Was an act of violence, not misfortune, the true catalyst for Natalie Wood's death? The autopsy performed on December 4, 1981, cataloged a series of injuries that would become central to every re-examination of Natalie Wood's death. The report lists multiple fresh bruises, ecchymoses, scattered across both forearms, wrists, upper arms, and thighs. A linear abrasion was noted along her left cheek and brow, and a superficial scratch marked the front of her neck. Toxicology revealed a blood alcohol concentration of 0.14%, with no narcotics or sedatives detected. Forensic pathologists reviewing the case years later pointed to the location and character of these bruises. Dr. Lakshmanan Sathya-Vagheswaran's 2012 addendum emphasized that some injuries likely occurred before Wood entered the water, raising questions about their cause. Yet the bruises alone could not confirm whether they resulted from a struggle or from striking the yacht's rail during a fall. As one independent expert observed, the pattern is suggestive but not conclusive, consistent with either a violent encounter or a tragic accident. In June 2012, the Los Angeles County coroner issued a supplemental report that amended Natalie Wood's cause of death. The new certificate listed drowning and other undetermined factors, replacing the original accidental ruling. The coroner's memo cited the pattern and timing of Wood's bruises, the scratch on her neck, and the lack of clear evidence showing exactly how she entered the water. The report noted that some injuries could have occurred before she drowned, and it could not exclude the possibility of a non-accidental event. By 2018, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department publicly named Robert Wagner a person of interest. Investigators pointed to inconsistencies in Wagner's statements and his refusal to sit for additional interviews. Key items such as the missing wine bottle, incomplete Coast Guard radio transcripts, and uncollected nail clippings remained unresolved, leaving the case open and its central questions unanswered. Today, the official record still lists Natalie Wood's death as undetermined. With key witnesses gone and new evidence unlikely, the case stands as a reminder: unanswered questions endure when the truth remains elusive. For justice, even decades later, silence and shifting stories are never enough.